What if I told you the next 3 minutes after a stroke starts could decide how well you recover for the rest of your life? Most seniors don't realize there's a simple, powerful set of actions that can protect the brain while help is on the way. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to do the moment symptoms begin, because knowing this could save your independence, your mobility, and even your life. Acting immediately when stroke symptoms appear is the single most powerful step a person can take to protect brain function and long-term independence, because every minute without proper medical care means brain cells are deprived of oxygen and nutrients they need to survive. And this is why calling emergency services right away is not an overreaction but a life-preserving decision that sets everything else in motion. From rapid assessment to advanced treatment that can restore blood flow and limit damage. And many people hesitate because they hope symptoms will pass, or they worry about causing alarm. Yet this hesitation is one of the biggest reasons strokes lead to more severe disability, since treatment options are highly time-sensitive and work best when started as soon as possible, which means the moment you notice sudden weakness, confusion, trouble speaking, vision problems, or dizziness, the priority shifts instantly from observation to action, because trained responders can begin support even before reaching the hospital by monitoring vital signs, preparing the right facility, and ensuring no time is lost once you arrive. And it's important to understand that strokes don't always feel dramatic or painful. Sometimes they are subtle and quiet, making it even more critical to trust the signs rather than guess them. And calling for help quickly also reduces the risk of complications that can occur if symptoms worsen while a person is alone or unsupported, giving both the individual and their family the reassurance that professionals are taking over, which can lower stress and create a safer environment while waiting. And another reason immediate action matters is that emergency teams can communicate ahead to stroke-ready hospitals so specialists and imaging equipment are prepared, shortening the window between arrival and treatment, something that has been shown to significantly improve recovery outcomes and beyond the medical benefits. There is a psychological advantage to acting fast because it replaces fear and uncertainty with a clear sense of control, allowing the person experiencing symptoms to focus on staying calm and safe instead of wondering what to do next. And for caregivers or bystanders, this quick decision can feel intimidating, but remembering that it is always better to call and be told everything is fine than to delay and risk permanent damage helps remove doubt, reinforcing the idea that speed is not about panic but about protection. And when communities become more aware of this principle, it leads to faster response times overall, better survival rates, and more people returning to their normal lives after treatment, showing how a single decisive action in those first moments can ripple outward into months and years of preserved memory, mobility, and independence, turning what could be a devastating event into a manageable medical emergency where the chances of recovery are dramatically improved simply because someone chose to act without delay. Staying calm and positioning the body safely during a possible stroke is one of the most important ways to protect both the brain and the body while waiting for professional help, because sudden symptoms like dizziness, weakness, or confusion can make balance unpredictable and increase the risk of falling or injury, which is why the first instinct should be to stop moving and find a stable place to sit or lie down, allowing the body to conserve energy and prevent unnecessary strain. And while it may feel natural to panic or try to walk it off, remaining still actually helps keep blood pressure from spiking further and reduces the chance of additional complications. So once seated or lying down, supporting the head and shoulders becomes essential, since this position promotes better breathing comfort and can help maintain a clear airway, especially if nausea or lightheadedness is present. And loosening tight clothing around the neck or waist can also improve comfort and reduce the feeling of restriction, making it easier to take slow, steady breaths that signal the nervous system to settle, because breathing plays a powerful role in calming the body's stress response and can prevent the surge of adrenaline that often accompanies fear. And when the body relaxes even slightly, it creates a more stable state while waiting for responders, which is beneficial not only physically but emotionally as well, since feeling supported and grounded can reduce the sense of helplessness that sometimes accompanies sudden health scares. and if another person is present. Their role is to help maintain this calm environment by speaking gently, offering reassurance, and ensuring the individual remains in a secure position without trying to force movement or provide food or drink, as swallowing ability can be affected and safety must come first. And the reason positioning matters so much is that the body is already under stress during a stroke. So minimizing additional physical demands helps prevent fatigue and reduces the risk of secondary injury. And even small adjustments like placing a cushion behind the back or turning slightly onto one side can increase comfort and stability, which in turn supports steadier breathing and a clearer mind, allowing the person to stay aware of their symptoms and communicate if needed. And this calm, supported posture also makes it easier for emergency responders to assess the situation quickly upon arrival, since the individual is already in a safe position and less likely to be disoriented from movement or exertion. And perhaps most importantly, staying calm sends a powerful message to the brain that the situation is being managed, helping to keep emotions from escalating and allowing the focus to remain on safety and awareness, transforming a frightening moment into one where simple, steady actions create a protective buffer until medical care takes over, reinforcing the idea that even in a medical emergency, there are meaningful steps a person can take to support their well-being and reduce risk while waiting for help to arrive. Noting the exact time when stroke symptoms begin may seem like a small detail in the moment, but it is one of the most powerful pieces of information you can provide to medical professionals, because many of the most effective treatments for stroke are highly time dependent, and doctors rely on this timeline to decide which interventions are safe and appropriate. Which means the simple act of remembering or recording when you first noticed something was wrong can directly influence the kind of care you receive and how well you recover. And this is why, as soon as symptoms appear, whether it's sudden weakness, trouble speaking, confusion, or vision changes, taking a mental snapshot of the time or linking it to what you were doing, such as watching a particular TV program or finishing a meal, can make it easier to recall later. And if you're with someone experiencing symptoms, gently asking them when they started feeling different and noting it on a phone or piece of paper can be incredibly helpful. Because in emergency medicine, every minute provides clues about what's happening inside the brain and how best to respond. And understanding the timing helps healthcare teams determine eligibility for clot busting medications or other procedures that must be given within specific windows to be effective. So, without that information, doctors must rely on estimates, which can sometimes limit options and beyond guiding treatment decisions. Knowing the start time also helps track whether symptoms are improving, worsening, or staying the same, giving responders a clearer picture of the situation as it unfolds. And this awareness creates a sense of purpose during a stressful moment, because instead of feeling helpless, you're actively contributing valuable information that supports faster, more precise care. And it also encourages mindfulness of the body's signals, helping you stay present and attentive rather than overwhelmed by fear, which can make it easier to communicate clearly when help arrives. And if symptoms began during sleep or you're unsure of the exact minute, sharing the last time you felt normal is still extremely useful, since it narrows the timeline and allows clinicians to make safer decisions, reinforcing the idea that any information is better than none. And this simple habit of noticing and remembering the onset of symptoms is something everyone can practice mentally ahead of time, so it feels more natural if the moment ever comes. Turning awareness into a practical tool that supports quicker diagnosis, more targeted treatment, and ultimately a better chance of preserving independence and quality of life through informed medical care that begins with the clarity of a single remembered moment. Avoiding food or drinks during a suspected stroke may feel counterintuitive, especially if the person feels thirsty, anxious, or simply wants comfort. But this step is essential because strokes can interfere with the muscles and nerves that control swallowing, a condition known as dysphagia, which means even a small sip of water or a bite of food could accidentally enter the airway instead of the stomach and lead to choking or aspiration. And aspiration can cause serious complications such as breathing difficulty or pneumonia. So the safest approach in those first critical minutes is to keep the mouth clear and wait until trained professionals assess swallowing ability. And understanding this ahead of time removes the temptation to offer something to drink as a way to soothe or help, since what feels supportive can unintentionally create risk. And it's helpful to remember that the body's priority during a stroke is maintaining brain function, not digestion. So skipping intake for a short period does not cause harm, but instead protects against avoidable complications. And if dryness in the mouth becomes uncomfortable, simply staying calm and breathing slowly through the nose can reduce that sensation while keeping the airway safe. And for caregivers or bystanders, the key is gentle reassurance, letting the person know that avoiding food and drinks is a protective measure rather than a restriction, which can ease anxiety and prevent them from trying to eat or drink on their own. And this step also allows emergency responders to perform assessments more easily when they arrive, because there is no risk of recent intake complicating airway management or imaging procedures, making the transition to professional care smoother and safer. And beyond the immediate safety benefits, understanding the reason behind this guideline helps people feel more confident in following it, since they recognize it as a deliberate action to reduce risk rather than an arbitrary rule. And this awareness can be especially valuable in stressful moments when instinct might otherwise take over, and keeping the focus on stillness, calm breathing, and waiting for medical evaluation ensures that the body remains as stable as possible while experts prepare to provide treatment, reinforcing the idea that sometimes the most helpful action is simply to pause and allow the right care to happen at the right time, protecting both breathing and overall safety until professionals can determine when it is safe to resume normal intake. Preparation builds confidence in a way that transforms fear into calm, purposeful action, because when you already know what steps to take during a possible stroke, your mind doesn't have to scramble for answers in a stressful moment, and this sense of readiness can significantly improve how quickly and effectively you respond, ultimately influencing recovery outcomes in a positive direction, since hesitation and uncertainty are often the biggest barriers to fast action. But preparation replaces hesitation with clarity, allowing you to move from recognition to response almost automatically. And this is powerful because the brain tends to rely on familiar patterns under pressure. So when you've mentally rehearsed what to do, your response becomes smoother and more decisive. And beyond the practical benefits, preparation also reduces emotional overwhelm, creating a sense of control that keeps panic from taking over, which is important because staying calm helps stabilize breathing, heart rate, and overall awareness while help is on the way. And this confidence extends not only to the individual, but also to family members and caregivers who feel reassured knowing they have a plan, making them more likely to act quickly and supportively rather than freezing in uncertainty. And over time, communities that emphasize awareness and readiness tend to see better outcomes because more people recognize symptoms early and seek help without delay, demonstrating how knowledge spreads protection far beyond one person. And preparation doesn't require complicated training, it simply involves understanding the signs, knowing the immediate steps, and occasionally revisiting that information so it stays fresh in your mind, much like reviewing emergency contacts or safety procedures. And this simple habit creates a mental safety net that you carry with you every day, offering peace of mind, because you know that if something unexpected happens, you won't be starting from zero. And another important aspect of preparation is the emotional reassurance it provides after the event as well, since people often feel more empowered and less fearful when they know they handled the situation as best as possible, which can support a more positive outlook during recovery and rehabilitation. And this mindset shift from vulnerability to readiness reinforces the idea that while no one can predict every health event, everyone can equip themselves with the knowledge to respond effectively, and that knowledge becomes a form of self-care that protects independence, dignity, and quality of life, reminding us that preparation is not about expecting the worst, but about giving ourselves the strongest possible foundation to face whatever comes with clarity, calm, and